And welcome to the Positively Awesome Wrestling Podcast. It is yours truly, the Drip King, Jimmy Baby, and I am joined by my awesome co-hosts. One to the right of me here, Tidy. He's making it. He's here for y'all, as y'all can tell. He's here for y'all, man. Tidy, how have you been other than the ridiculously hot weather you got going on over there?
Look, man, I went to Vegas, right? And at night it was like 90 degrees, 110. So you go outside, you run back in, but I came home as a California, as a native in my Bay Area, central area, and that shit is 73 degrees. It's worse than 90 degrees Las Vegas because I was there. I don't know. I was just putting up with it, but I cannot put up with this shit at home, man. I don't know how y'all deal with weather, but we Californians are fickle, little roaches that run back when the light comes out. That's how I'm doing, man. It's fucking hot.
So he's suffering for y'all, so y'all better appreciate it. And then what up, Nick? Thank you for joining, bud. Thank you for being here. Always a pleasure to have you in the show. And then we have Albert right below me. Albert, how have you been this week? And hopefully you're doing better weather-wise than our good buddy Tidy and myself, because I live in Florida, and the weather here sucks all the time, too.
Honestly, it's actually this week has been pretty nice. I was actually in Manhattan on all day yesterday, walking around, and I was a little hot and sweaty by the time I got back home, but it wasn't like brutal. It's been nice, but the New York summer has actually been really, really hot. It's just starting to come down a little bit now, which has been nice. So
yeah, I still got like 2 more months until it starts going down.
Yeah, you've got it way worse.
And when it goes down, it'll go down to like 90 for a month, and then yeah. But
no, it'll rain. It'll go down to like 86, and then just spring right back up to 95. And 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness, when it rains, it's so much worse. I'm doing fine, I guess. But again, Florida weather, so that's never fun. I had to cancel all my trip this week, so that's never fun. Silver lining though, I will be going to Dynamite this week, so that's something to look forward to. So all the Drip Kingites, whatever we're gonna call my fans out there, you can look for me on Dynamite this week and Collision because they're doing them both the same night. That's cool. But enough of all that nonsense talk. We're gonna jump into the show, and you know what it is. Hello there, babe. Thank you for joining. We're gonna talk about our favorite moments from the week. And I believe we went Tidy first last week, so we'll switch it up and go with Albert first this week so that we're all being fair and not playing favorites and all that good stuff. Albert, what was your favorite moment from this past week in wrestling?
I hope me and Tidy don't have the same favorite moment.
You
but this do we?
Nah, I don't know.
I'm switching it up, man. Switching it up. I'm playing left field now. I'm done with the right field.
Oh, I like this. I really, really love this whole saga that's going on with JD McDonough and the Judgment Day. Like, it has just absolutely got me. It's got me right there. I think everybody's been saying that, Finn losing was going to, destroy the Judgment Day. Oh, it's over. He's just going to get turned on. He's going to get kicked out. And now with the introduction of JD into this story, his interaction a little bit more, the way Raw went off the air with Judgment Day standing tall and JD, outside the ring with a little smile on his face, like, if it wasn't for me, this kind of really wouldn't have happened. I'm loving it. And I love that they added a wrinkle into it instead of just saying, all right, let's boot Finn out and just, do whatever we had to do. Yeah. They added a wrinkle into it, and we're going to get a little bit more deeper of a story rather than just, the surface stuff, which is what WWE has been doing for years. They've been doing the surface stuff. They started with the bloodline. We're getting a little bit more drawn out stories as we're getting everything told to us. I love it.
So I'll ask you a question since you're bringing it up. How do you? Let's get this right. Complain about the. I would take it in a heartbeat, Nick. I promise you. I'm allergic to the sun though too, so that's probably why. But I would take it in a heartbeat, just to say. But back to Judgment Day. How do you see this thing with JD? Do you see JD replacing Finn? Do you see Finn just leaving with JD and Judgment Day imploding? Do you see JD joining everybody and it just being a 5-person group at this point? How do you see this playing out?
So Survivor Series is coming up in November. That's a couple months away, right?
Yeah.
seems like the perfect opportunity to have the Judgment Day at full strength, right?
Ooh, yeah.
If JD McDonough joins the Judgment Day, they operate as a well-oiled machine for a little while, and maybe that's where like the seeds of dissension start. Maybe after War Games, that could be kind of fun. I think that's where I think it might be going. I kind of hope so. I hope we get a 4-man and a woman versus a 4-man and a woman team in War Games. I think that would be pretty badass. I don't think it'll happen, but it would be really cool.
I did see someone point. They said that it looks like we could be heading towards the Judgment Day with JD McDonough being a part of it against Seth, Kevin, Sammy, and Cody. I ain't mad at that if that's what we're getting.
I'm not either, but I have a feeling that Seth isn't the guy. I think there's going to be somebody else that's going to get introduced to that story. Maybe Drew, maybe somebody else. Only because my thought process is Seth is going to have the championship and want him to defend, not put him in War Games. So
I think because we saw Roman in a similar situation last year at Survivor Series where he didn't defend, he was just part of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We all agree Judgment Day is like probably outside the bloodline, clearly the hottest thing WWE has going right now. So if Seth is embroiled in that, it's still kind of cool. But
yeah.
See, I even got the Dom ring going on right there. Look at that.
Love that.
American Championship, baby. Oh yeah, I'm a Dom head. Tidy, we'll swing it over to you. Favorite moment of the week? Can't be JD McDonough now because Albert Dunn took it from you, but he said he's coming out of left field. What's coming from left field? Tidy, what you got?
Well, it was one of my favorite moments, technically, but it would have been number one. But I like NXT, man. Mustafa Ali with that video package. That shit was great. That was some old Drew Gulak vibes of when he was playing politician. Nah, man, it was good. And he even called out your boy, called him a hardened criminal, a convicted criminal.
He's not getting this bad boy.
He looks down, he doesn't have family values. And he's speaking like a politician on the stage. You see the sun rising behind him, fucking flowers blooming and shit. And I'm totally buying it. Booker T was buying it too. So it's legit. Five times legit. Booker T was motivated, So that was my favorite stuff I saw this week because I like Mustafa Ali. It's kind of like him. Let's say Tyler Bate. I won't say Dijak. Von Wagner and Stone, Braun Breaker, and I'm surprised by Wesley. It's not that all of those are exactly getting great on the stick, on the microphone, or in the video package, but they're looking so much more confident.
They're improving.
Ali looks great. Out of all of them, Ali. No, other thing was Trick Willie fighting Drew Gulak.
Oh yeah, Trick Willie.
All right, so I'm not going to say it was the greatest in-ring thing, but he's got a cool pop-up uppercut. He's got a great drop kick and a spinning Ryu kick. The problem is only the drop kick was the one that really landed flush in that whole match. But the potential was there because he's got the greatest gift for gab on NXT. Like, that man's the greatest acquisition they've ever had, in my opinion, when you talk about charisma.
Question about Trick real quick. Sorry.
Let's go ahead.
How often have you seen him in the ring, though? Because I've watched
like 3 of the
every time I've watched them. Okay, 3. Because I haven't watched all the NXTs, clearly. But when I do watch NXTs, I've never got to see him wrestle. I'm always like, yo, he has a great look. He can talk for days, but I was like, can he wrestle? And I didn't see it this week either, but
it was a big deal, man. It was what's going on? But it was a big deal because he's facing Dragunov next week, and he's talking shit like he's gonna drag his ass, dragging whatever, talking all this mess. So everybody said it, commentary said it. This is the time for him to show out, and you usually get, just like Wesley won, propel yourself into the championship match on NXT Heatwave. And it wasn't exactly there, but I like his moveset, and I think he's still the greatest gift of gab there.
Yeah.
But that's technically looking up, because like I didn't think Tyler Bate would actually be confident in this what do you call it? A guru telling people to find their balance.
Someone defined him as a yoga guru.
But dude, he's being more confident. He's being confident in it now, man. There's some crazy shit going on in NXT that's good. Like Dijak, and I'll stop. Dijak is like Terminator 1.0, Arnold, 8 Terminator 1.2, 2.0. You got 1.5. That dude, his match was so damn good. He literally picked up Wes from the side of the ring, swung his ass into the stairs, all the way around like he was Cesaro. That shit was a great match. Dijak doesn't miss. He is literally the next Sheamus. Like, he can't have a bad match. It's impossible.
Dijak's the truth. Dijak's the truth.
The truth.
I can't wait for Dijak to be on the main roster. I think he's just one of those guys that is going to excel once he's there.
For real this time.
Yeah. Not as T-Bar. I'm talking about Dijak, not T-Bar. We blocked that out.
I'm gonna move on to All In just a little bit, Nick. But I'm excited for it.
Same.
I do want to give NXT props because it does look like, of all the things I will give it props outside of Dominic Mysterio running things with that North American Championship there, the mid-card scene does look to be booked phenomenally over there. And Wesley, he had the North American title, he had a great reign, and then the next he just progressed into the NXT title, which is exactly how we used to see these things play out. So that's fantastic that's what they're doing over there.
That's black and gold NXT right there. That's
fantastic. That's the way we want to see it done over there. Yeah.
There's 6 big guys. 6. Dijak, Baron Corbin, Dabba-Kato came back. Braun Breaker. Okay, maybe 5 big guys with Braun Breaker. But Von Wagner is a good guy now, and it's so convincing. You said it like about a year ago. Like,
yes, I did. Thank you very much.
Has it, and I did not believe you because that dude couldn't talk a lick. But he was very confident on the mic and what he said. It wasn't great, but he's got Robert Stone with him. And that shit. Did you see the stuff about him being a kid going through like all
I've seen a few of them. When I see Von Wagner clips, I'm watching them.
He's gonna table your ass. Like it's. I'm telling you, it's a big good guy that is very convincing. He's beefing with Baron, who's beefing with Breaker, who's beefing with Dijak is next. And I'm telling you, the big guy scene is looking good. They got finally a good big guy.
I'm glad you brought Von Wagner because I know for a fact I didn't see anybody else praising this dude. And I said there's something about him. He didn't have what they were trying to do with him before just wasn't working. He didn't have anything to sink his teeth into. This, as goofy and as silly as it might be, it's something he's allowed to sink his teeth into. He obviously is a fan of what they're doing, like the whole thing. So it makes it easier for him to just project it onto the screen and me buy it. I'm so glad Von Wagner's getting this because he got shit on for way too long. And I'm like, yo, what are y'all doing? Give him
some of it was on him, and I get it, but a lot of it was on the position he got put in. WWE has this really weird tendency to just take a guy and throw him into a world title picture out of nowhere, and people are like, no, why is this guy here? And they reburned NXT 2.0. They're like, all right, we're gonna have a big fatal 4-way for the championship, and this unknown guy replaces a guy that everybody thought that actually people were like, we hope wins this whole thing.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere now, this other guy is in there, and everybody's like, oh my god, here we go. It's WWE. They're gonna put this guy at the top. It's gonna be another Roman or Cena where they're gonna shove him in our faces or down our throats, as they like to say. And so WWE didn't do Von Wagner any favors at all. It took him a while to get over because of their own horrible booking by trying to shove him into the world title picture just way too soon.
I also think last 2 months. I also think it's a testament to how good he could be just because he was put in that position. And usually when people are put in those positions, if they don't got it, they fall and then they're gone. Like, we don't see them. He's found a way to make it come back and make it work. And now he's on the rise again. Von Wagner is going to be a big deal. I just feel it. The moment I saw him, I was like, there's something with him. They just have to give him that right thing. And right here, this is working for now. He's going to have to find something different once he gets up to the main roster and all that. But I like this comparison right here. Psycho Sid level potential. Thank you. Yes, give me that shit. And Mustafa Ali, politician, he would try and go after Dominic Mysterio because politicians love to incarcerate people for no dang reason. And I ain't here for it. So Mustafa Ali can take his booty out of there. He ain't going to be North American champion. That's for Dominic Mysterio. That's
but it's so good.
It is good.
Literally it is good. Acting like a good politician, and we know it's full of shit, and he's smiling. Man, that motherfucker,
I know.
I love it.
I know he wanted to do this a few months ago, and they wouldn't let him do it on the main roster. So I'm glad they're allowing it to happen now, because there was rumors that it was going to be a really great gimmick. It was just too much for TV. So put him down in NXT. They don't care. We'll put anything on TV.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're doing it because, again, like the thing with Von Wagner, this is something Mustafa Ali really loves. So he'll really be able to sink his teeth into it, sell it to us, and hopefully something happens with him. He ain't going to win the North American Championship, though. That ain't happening, baby. But now it's on to Jimmy Bebe's favorite moment of the week. And this one's a little bit shocking, but we got, what was it? I can never remember his name because they changed it. Giovanni. Okay. We got Giovanni versus Chad Gable. And it was like, this is a match. I loved it. It was phenomenal. And then they followed it up with Gunther and Otis. And I'm like, man, that's a crazy match to have after that one. And it was better. I loved it. I loved Gunther and Otis's dynamic, their chemistry, all of it. It was fantastic. Otis trying to hit the little worm, caterpillar, whatever he wants to call it, on Gunther. Gunther power bombed Otis. Oh my goodness. I love Otis as a fight from underneath babyface type guy. He was kind of the underdog here. And it's crazy to think that Gunther is an underdog, or not Gunther, Otis. I'm tripping over my words. Otis, as big as that man is, he was the underdog here, and he had to play from underneath or fight from underneath up against Gunther, and it was awesome because that's just a testament to how awesome Gunther is. That this 400-pound man was the underdog. It was great. I loved the match. Otis didn't have, like, he got to be playful, but he also got to be a little bit more serious because they're messing with his Maxine, and he ain't about that nonsense. And then Gunther's like, I don't care what you're doing. I'm still just going to beat your butt, chop you down, and then powerbomb that big old boy for the 1, 2, 3. It was a phenomenal match. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not looking at no stupid star ratings and decimal points and all other nonsense. I watched it. It was fun. It was amazing. And nobody could tell me any different. I loved it. I want to see Otis in more matches like this. I also want to see Gunther in more matches like this because we always see him doing the serious, just beat each other to death match. I want to see him do some more of this because this is the kind of match that tells me that he is the guy that they can put the belt on and strap the rocket to for the next 5 years because he can give us different things. Gunther is that dude, Lou, for sure. He tells stories. Yeah, I can't even disagree with it at this point because this was the one kind of match I was like, can Gunther do this? Because I've never seen it. Can he do the fun shit? And he did. So Otis versus Gunther was literally my favorite part of the week. And that's wild to think about. That's just crazy, but it was fantastic. And now I'm even more hyped for tomorrow's match where Chad Gable, thank you, dethrones Gunther. Ain't gonna be no honky tonk man. Will be the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion for years and years to come.
Just to think that we almost, a couple of years ago, there was a really real chance that Gunther would have never gone onto the main roster. He said he didn't want to leave the UK. That's all. That's the only place he wanted to be. He was never going to come to America. Imagine we wouldn't have gotten that. Imagine we didn't have what we have right now. Man, that would have been one of the biggest misses in wrestling. He is, I mean, a star. He's that guy that is, I mean, all right, so WWE has always been more of a babyface territory, but, almost everywhere else has really pretty much been a heel territory. And Gunther is that guy that you can put on top for years and be believable that people just can't get a championship away from this guy. Yep. He's just so believable in every way. I love him.
Yeah, he's I think him moving up at the time he did was just another one of those perfect timing scenarios as well. Because there was the rumor that Vince was growing sour on him so soon. It was like, oh my God, how? How, Vince? Don't. Gunther, go chop him real quick. Tell him not to do this to you. And then Triple H swoops in and saves the day and is like, oh, thank you. And I've seen people like, well, they're not doing anything really special with Gunther. They're just letting him be himself. Yeah. This is a problem that they've not been doing with people. So the fact that they did because they realized they had to with Gunther, of all people, they should be applauded for that. They 100% should be. They didn't have to go in and fix them like they always think they do. They just said, just go do what you do, Gunther. It's gonna work, and it did. I can't even argue. There's always the talk about best wrestler in the world, and Seth Rollins gets thrown out, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, Kenny God, the wrestling god, whatever we're calling him, Omega. All these names get thrown around a lot. Gunther's name needs to be in that conversation, straight up. I don't understand why it's not at this point. No,
NXT UK, I was watching since then. I didn't see before that, but I watch every single one of his matches, every single thing, and that man is terrifying.
Yeah,
it's so good. I mean, I knew we have to get him to WWE. First, I was upset about the Imperium music changing because that shit is banging awesome when it starts. But now the way it goes now is he marches to the ring to this new beat.
It's good.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I still will take the old one, but watching him walk to this is better.
So my introduction to Gunther when he was Walter was when he showed up to the first night to face off against Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne just beat, I don't remember who he beat, and then out comes Walter. And I'm like,
it was Tyler Bate.
I was like, who is this guy? Who the heck is this guy? This is crazy. Finn Balor and JD wrestled on that one. JD was someone else. Jordan. It was Jordan Devlin. So that's the pay-per-view it was. And Walter came out, and I'm like, who is this guy? He looked wild, man. He looked like he's gonna hurt somebody. He just has that presence to him. And I'm curious. I literally watched NXT UK because of that moment, and I've not been disappointed anytime I've seen him wrestle. And then he's one of the few people I've gone back and started watching religiously at the time, watching all his other stuff. His stuff with Riddle was phenomenal. Ricochet, phenomenal. There's other. I could go on and on. Me and my son literally sat there for 3 hours one day just watching Walter matches from the indie scenes. It was like, this dude's phenomenal. So the perfect wrestler. Yes, 150%, Nick. He is the perfect wrestler. The presentation, everything. He's phenomenal.
But the perfect opportunity for us Chad Gable fans for the last 5 years, we've loved Chad Gable, especially the last 2.5 years, not 3 years. But man, this is a damn feel good moment. You got the ultimate underdog, and the ultimate underdog fans, we were we know this guy can wrestle. We like him. We love him, but we know you won't give us him. The fact that even if he loses, if he pulls off an incredible match, that is giving more stock to him, and we want nothing but more stock in him.
Yeah.
Take my money.
Yeah.
I'm a Chad Gable guy. I think most of us are Chad Gable guys, period. We're just now seeing the opportunity. This is huge. And big Gunther versus an Olympian, if they do the package right, a video package right, before, after, say they get a rematch, if they can do that package right and prove who Chad Gable really is, the goofy that we see him with, dude, this can blow up. This could be one of the biggest matches this year, period.
I have a match of the year.
I have a feeling that
I want the package, though. I want the video package. I want the Chad Gable package.
And Tidy, I agree with you, and this is why I have a feeling that Gunther is not going to lose the title on Raw. I think that something screwy's going to happen. I think maybe some interference, something like that, and we get this match at the next. It's Payback next, right? Yeah. I think we get it at Payback.
Kurt Angle's hometown.
Beautiful.
Perfect ties to Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
So before
when I cut a special guest referee, that would actually be even cooler.
So before Gable even got the opportunity, I was like, man, Payback's in Pittsburgh. Kurt Angle is going to be part of this show. What better time to pull the trigger on Chad Gable than now? And then, we get the 5-minute challenge. I'm like, what? What was it? April, I think 23rd. I said, give me the damn pen, WWE, because I'm going to put the belt on Chad Gable. That's the first thing I'm doing. I'm not saying WWE hired me, but there are signs. There are signs out there, people. I'm not going to tell you it happened, but there are signs. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, there it is. Progress. Just go into YouTube, type Gunther matches progress, and just enjoy. It's crazy. There's Ricochet. That's one from Progress, I believe. He's so good.
And Gunther, he's just one of those guys that appeals to everybody. But like even that WrestleMania match, like my girlfriend, she'll watch every once in a while. But we watched that triple threat match at Mania with Drew and Gunther and Sheamus, and man, they just beat the snot out of each other. And she was just sitting there like, "Oh my god, these guys! Do they hate? Do they like hate each other more than everybody else? Like, what's going on here?" I'm like, "Nope, this is just the way these guys wrestle. That's their style." She's like, "I want to see more of this." He appeals to so many different people.
It's really a perfect storm too. You got Sheamus, who wants to pull off, give everything he wants and everything he has in every match. And you got Drew in their legendary matches. He's going to try to pull out everything that he can to have the best match. And you think Gunther's going to sit there and I'm not going to give him my all? See how they beat the shit out of each other.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Chad is without a doubt the guy that beat Gunther after he beats Honky's record. He's going to fall 5 days short, Nick. I apologize for breaking this to you. He's going to fall 5 days short. I honestly believe that.
That's payback?
And it don't even matter. It don't even matter to me because you know who I thought was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion before we found out it was Honky, before they started telling us it was Honky Tonk a few months ago? Do you know who I thought it was?
Who?
I had no clue because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I know that Miz has held it more than anybody, I believe. It's either Miz or Chris Jericho. These kinds of records do not matter to me. They might mean to other people, and I don't mean to shit on y'all, but I'm just saying, to me, it don't matter, but he's going to fall 5 days short. Honky Tonk is going to get something, and this is all he has to live with. Like, this is all he has. So, I'm sorry, man. It's going to happen. That's a great match to see. I'm going to go back and watch it, see if I can spot Nick in the crowd. That's what I'm going to do.
Here's my thing. I don't care a lot about those records. I actually really liked the Honky Tonk Man when I was a kid. I'm not going to lie. I actually was a Honky Tonk Man fan. My thing is this. At the end of the day, when we look up in the record books and somebody's like, who's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time? It's a little embarrassing to say the Honky Tonk Man. It'd be a lot better if I was saying Gunther. That's the only thing. But either way, I really don't care. But I'm just saying, like, Gunther is probably a better representation of what that championship actually means. Honky Tonk Man is actually one of those champions that was more about the gimmick than about, as a wrestler. And the Intercontinental Championship was really more the workers' championship.
It was because of the era that it happened in. That's all. I'm not here to say that Honky Tonk Man is better than Gunther in any way. I don't think he deserves it more. I think if Gunther gets it, I'm not going to be mad. I will be mad if Chad Gable doesn't get it from him, though. I'll tell you that much because that's how much I've been invested in at this point. But
can you imagine the promos of him calling, "Hey, look here, you stupid little man! I beat you twice." He's like, "No, there's going to be a third, dude. I hope they get a trilogy. I swear." And he wins on the last one, or better yet, really, Pittsburgh's the best time for him to win.
Yeah, it is. But that will be their third match, so that's the way to do it. And that's why I say he's going to fall 5 days short of the record. Because we all expect him to break the record. They're beating it into our head for a reason. So they're either going to really celebrate it or they're really going to just pull the rug out from under us.
On Monday Night Raw, Chad Gable gets beaten to a bloody pulp, and you see that little Olympian spirit just keep getting up because that dude's got the battery times any wrestler. Like that dude. So imagine on the rematch where you're seeing him get beat and Chad Gable's pulling off some Dolph Ziggler shit at Survivor Series and slowly coming back and hitting. I think that would be the best way to do it.
Okay, so since we're bringing that up, and I love fantasy booking, and I'll get to the fantasy booking stuff later. But someone asked this question earlier, and I responded because I think if I'm stretching this out to payback, they have the match tomorrow. I'm letting them go. I'm just letting them just go crazy tomorrow. Put them in the main event too. I don't care. 15 minutes. Just go out there and just do what y'all want to do. And then some way, somehow, I'm having the match be no contest. Something happens. My thing was Gunther goes to chop him. Chad Gable moves. He chops the ring post. Something with his hand. And then they got to call the match. The doctor says he can't continue. Stop the match. So then Gable gets his rematch at Payback. Now, Gunther isn't able to chop him. And if he does, he's risking hurting himself, much like Orange Cassidy over in AEW. He hits his orange punch, and then he's got to sell it for like 3 minutes because his hand's messed up. That way, there's a little bit more psychology going into it. And if Chad Gable wins, Gunther's protected. Yeah, he lost to Chad Gable, but he was one-armed man. still impressive for Gable. Gunther still comes out smelling like roses. That's a scenario. Obviously, don't do it just like that. But if you can do something along those lines, I think that's how I would do it. Yo.
What's up, Harry?
But from that, we will move on. We are going to go to where to go. Thank you, Edge. Apparently, I keep doing that. I'm bad about it. Apparently, Edge had his retirement match on SmackDown against Sheamus. Not a bad match. Me, though, personally, the whole night just did not feel like it was the end. It felt like they were building towards something, and I was waiting for it and waiting for it. Nothing happened. So I was like, man, maybe that was it then. And then they show the clip of him coming out, and he's like, this is it. This is it. As he's pumping up the crowd, is like, man, maybe this is it. Then what I think afterwards, he talked to the crowd, and he says, I'm not going to be doing this in front of you guys anymore. And I thought those were interesting words. Was he talking to Toronto? Or was he talking to the WWE universe? I don't know. But before we'll, I'm sure we'll dive into it a little bit. What I would like to do first, though, is each of us, if you can, go around and give your favorite Edge moment from his career, just to commemorate and really, truly thank you, Edge, because he's a big deal. I've never personally been a fan, but I know he's a big deal. He's fantastic. He's been around from the comeback from his injury and retire on his own terms. That's admirable. I love when people can basically write their own story. I love it. So with that said, I won't go first because I'll let Albert go first. I think he's a big Edge fan, if I remember correctly.
I am, actually. I guess my favorite moment, I guess selfishly, is Survivor Series 2002. The reason why is that I was just there for that show. And Survivor Series 2002 was the first ever Elimination Chamber, and it was also the only WWE pay-per-view where every single championship actually changed hands. So every title there were 7 championship matches on the show, and all 7 titles changed hands. And one of them was a triple threat match between Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero, Edge and Rey Mysterio. I mean, just tore the house down. Just absolutely phenomenal. Just those 6 guys just had an absolute, unbelievable chemistry with each other. But I mean, even more than that, I mean, there are so many different great moments in Edge's career. I was there for also for the feud with Ric Flair, where he did the promo with the Road Rage promo. Absolute comedy gold. That's one of my other favorite things. I was there in Edge moments. I was there live for. But I mean, the first ever Money in the Bank cash in. The first ever winner of the Money in the Bank. The Royal Rumble, the comeback, and his first ever Royal Rumble comeback where he won the Royal Rumble and got the match again. I think that was the match against Jericho at WrestleMania. I mean, just everything that Edge has done, he embodies like one of those guys that makes him like he's one of our guys. He started from the bottom. He came in as like this lower tier singles wrestler. Yeah. And then, builds into this tag team wrestler, becomes an Intercontinental champion. We watch his entire progression. And if this happens to be it in WWE, which I don't think it is, because I think he's going to retire with the WWE. If he does go to AEW, I still think he comes back and retires with WWE.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So I don't think this is the end. But yeah, absolutely unbelievable. Thank you, Edge, for all the amazing memories.
What about you, Tidy? Do you have a favorite Edge memory?
Well, see, I didn't really watch back then. And I was disgruntled towards anybody doing a spear, to be honest. I'm like, it's a tackle, dude. You know what I mean? Like and then I see Roman do it. I didn't like that in the beginning. I like Bobby Lashley's spear, especially like Braun Breaker's spear lately. But I heard things so like Edge being a really good I'd watch almost every documentary on Peacock or WWE Network back then, almost every single one. I've seen them all. And one of the best things that I saw was with the beef with the Hardys and the beef, because of Lita. And I'm sorry, that documentary had me going. I was like, this is real shit.
Yeah.
And the way that it all went down, I was like, man, I can never, ever get that out of my head now. And Matt's real beef with him. Like, that shit was gold. And they were like best friends. But they tore the house down, and they let that fuel their actual personal rivalry. But yet they were still doing business. They did not like each other. I mean, it was real. Love that
Some
shit.
people could
That
take
shit
notes
was
of that.
drama, WWE drama at its best. That shit was awesome. But I think it's because Randy coming out, the greatest wrestling match ever. That match with Randy Orton, man, that was like Randy talking about, I used to phone it in. I used to do all this shit. And Randy's like, because I was that good. I didn't have to go all out. I didn't have to do this. And then him and Edge having that, I believe it was their second match, because the first one was kind of weird, the parking lot and weird shit.
No fans.
But that told me something about Edge. I was like, I did not expect this match to be up there, but man, that's one of my favorite matches ever, dude. That I'll never forget that, or that documentary with Lita, dude. That shit was dope.
So I have to ask you, since you really enjoy that match, did you enjoy it when you first watched it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear Not Sam's breakdown of it?
No.
Okay, so I did not like the match when I first saw it. Then I listened to Not Sam's breakdown. I went back and rewatched it, and I was like, this match is actually brilliant. So if you can find it, go check out Not Sam's breakdown of it, because it's Not Sam at his finest. He's in a top form there, explaining it. It makes me really enjoy the match now. I can go back and watch it. It's one of the few from the Thunderdome era I can actually go back and watch now. So.
It was the second time I watched it twice. I liked it so much. It was the second time I watched it that I didn't enjoy it as much, because I knew certain spots could be coming, because I really liked certain things. But I appreciated the flow of how they were moving. I'm like, this old dude with Randy telling people he don't have to phone it in anymore, told to be his best. That shit was great. Anyways, that's my favorite Edge moment, I think.
Okay. So I'll touch on this. Where'd it go? Come on, pop up.
And he started Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, damn it. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Edge, thank you for that. For sure. You might as well just call me an Edgehead from now on, because I fucking love Judgment Day. Am I the only one? Okay, so my favorite Edge moment was when Dom came and kicked him in his pee-pee. Now, I'm just joking, guys. That's not my favorite Edge moment.
I do have one more. When he slapped the glasses off of John Cena's dad's face in that Survivor Series, that promo, just that, one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
And again, it was. I agree with that. So, right here, Nick, again, this is why me and Nick are just so similar. The TLC match in itself was really cool. I think TLC 2 was much better. That's my opinion. I think this was in the first one when he did the spear. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it the first or second, Albert? I feel like you would know this one.
I think it's the second.
Okay.
So the spear, they had to up their game.
Okay. Yeah. That spear is one of those, usually like we see the winner, like I won a title. That's a moment that lives forever. The spear is a moment that's going to live forever, because when it happened, it was like, what did he just do? You can't do that. That man's dead right now. It's insane. It's one of the few matches I can still go back and watch and still just be blown away every single time. Not because it's not just because it's good, because it is good, but because it's crazy to think that in that time they were thinking this way, because nobody else was.
No, definitely not.
The 6 guys in that match should be just praised for the rest of their lives, just for evolving the business the way they did with that match. Edge, I think one of the things I hate the most about when I took time off from wrestling is that I missed Edge go from Intercontinental Champion to main eventer. Because I was there when he debuted, those little vignettes he had. I was like, this is weird. He came in, I was like, he's good, but this is weird. Then he joined the Brood.
David first.
Yeah, he joined the Brood. Right here, you go. I loved the Brood.
Love the Brood.
Song of all time.
Hell yeah.
Entrances of all time. Dropping blood on people. I was like, this is my kind of jam. And then we saw him do Edge and Christian. Loved it. probably my favorite tag team of that era. I don't rank them as highly as like the Dudleys, but as far as entertainment goes, Edge and Christian were it. They were probably one of the 3 most entertaining acts in that era, which is very
funny.
hard to
Very
do.
funny.
For the benefit of those with flash photography.
Oh my god. Man, it was then the invasion angle comes and they say, okay, we're gonna take the reins off, show us what you got. He wins the Intercontinental Champion, and then I kind of check out so I don't see what happens next. I can go back and watch it. It's never the same as watching it live, though. I that's my thing. I have to watch it live to really enjoy it. But what I hate is, had I watched it, Edge might be one of my all-time favorites right now because that rated R superstar stuff was gold.
Oh my god, yeah.
It doesn't have the same effect on me as if it would have been live, though. I know what's going to happen, so it's just not as big of a deal to
Well,
me
you mean
anymore.
like a continuing story like we're doing now. We just watch week to week, and then
Yes.
it just
Yes.
it's all storytelling should be. That's all TV
but
shows.
I know where it's going to go, so it's like, man, I can't enjoy it as much. I can still appreciate it and acknowledge the fact that he was fantastic because he was. You know it, dude. And yeah, it was the second. Okay, that makes sense. But earlier, I came up with this idea, and the only reason Thank You Edge thing came up was because of Nick. Because again, Edge has never been a guy to me. He's a lot like Sting in the sense that I know Sting's great. I know he's a big deal. I just was never a big fan. I appreciate it. I respect. I just was never a big fan. But I started thinking about this, and I mentioned it on Wrestle Legion, which y'all should be checking out with our good buddies Nick, Cy, and Andy over at YouTube. Great folks over there. You can check them out on Sunday afternoons. But I think Edge kind of suffered the same fate as like Macho Man and Seth Rollins, whereas they have every tool in the book to be the top guy. It just was never meant to be, so it never got to be. They had to fight and claw and prove themselves week in, week out, just to get that recognition. Whereas they don't get the Roman Reigns treatment, the Hulk Hogan treatment. They just didn't get the John Cena treatment. They didn't get it. But they were much more talented, clearly more talented. It just wasn't in their books. But the fact that they didn't let that stop them from just, again, scratching and clawing and just going out and stealing the show every single night. Edge, I think Edge is going to be remembered much more fondly than I think people are going to realize. It might be 5-10 years from now, but I think people are going to be looking back at Edge and be like, man, we really should have been appreciating him a lot more. He was that good.
You started seeing that a little bit a couple years after he retired. And, you know, when it really, really set in and we were like, okay, he doesn't look like he's coming back. And a lot of people were really giving him his flowers then. And they were going, man, looking back on it, man, imagine Edge was still around. Imagine he was around this whole time. Imagine how much brighter his career would be shining if he didn't have to miss those couple of years in between, you know. And at that point, he retired as heavyweight champion of the world. It wasn't like he was, at the end, you know. It wasn't like he was struggling or anything. He was the guy. He was one of their top guys at the time. Yeah. But you're right. He did suffer from, like you named, even like in that era, a lot of people always say, you know, it's like, at least it was like Hogan and Savage. It's like, you know, and at least, you know, people are like, okay, it was like Cena and Orton. But Edge is kind of like the third guy in that whole thing. And he still maintained being.
Technically, Macho Man could have been the third person too, because you had Hogan, Warrior,
right, or Hogan and Andre, even too.
Seth is the one. He doesn't have a third person. Like, he's not the third, but he's still just again.
He should have been, because if Mox never left, he would have been. That would have been the trio they would have talked about. But
I think he would have. I think Amber.
Oh no, he would have clear number 2. Yeah, clear number 2, no doubt.
But also, I want to give a shout out to Nick, because, again, it's not something that really dawned on me until he was talking about today earlier on Wrestle Legion, which y'all should be checking out. Can you name me a bad feud that Edge had as far as, like, the top feuds?
No.
I don't think anybody has a catalog of feuds better than Edge. I'm more than willing to listen to an argument, because this is new to me. It never dawned on me. But he was running down the names, and I'm like, man, yeah, Those were all really good feuds.
How about with the Miz? I don't remember how the promos were going back then, but I love anything with the Miz. I don't care. I just love Miz. But I know that match was not. I think that was the match that wasn't that great with Edge and Miz. I think that was a bad match.
The mixed tag match you talking?
What?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah, when was that? I'm trying to remember because I don't remember an Edge Miz feud or anything.
Yeah, when he came back.
I think there was an Edge versus Miz. Like
it was a mixed tag. It was Edge and Beth versus Miz and Maurice.
That's right. That doesn't. Yeah, that's booty. But then again, everything Miz was doing at the time was booty. I don't put that on Ed. I think it was Miz.
That match is actually a lot more fun than people give credit for it.
I could be thinking of another Miz match, but I thought they had a one-on-one, and the match was not that great.
You're thinking of Cody. That match was the booty. It was cheeks. It was horrible. if it's the match you're thinking of.
I could be wrong, but that was the only time I ever seen a bad match with Edge. If that was it. If not, it was, it happens with this here and there.
I'll say this, Harry. I don't think it was as great as people wanted it to be, but I also think it suffered from the same fate of AJ Styles and Nakamura. The hype was too much. There's literally nothing they could have done to live up to it. That's what I think.
I agree.
Not saying you're wrong at all. That's just my take on it. I just don't think they would have been able to do it. That just is me. But yeah, Undertaker, Edge and Undertaker was awesome. Like that's something I can go back and enjoy. Like it was really good. Obviously, Orton, awesome. Cena, I think he's Cena's greatest rival. Like, hands down.
If it's not Edge, it's Orton. I mean, it's 1 and 2 right there. The feud with Matt Hardy was excellent.
Yeah. He was one of the highlights of the Invasion angle as well.
Yeah.
That's not something you're going to hear me say a lot of. Highlight from the Invasion angle. Edge was one of them. So,
yeah. His feud with Booker T, his feud with Christian, like everything, his feud with Jericho, like everything that Edge touched really was it was entertaining.
And the one thing I will say about him going to AEW, which is up in the air, people are like, is he or is he not? The reason I think he is, and I don't think it's a long one, I think it's just for a few matches. When he had to retire, he stopped watching wrestling. The match that got him back into watching wrestling was Omega versus Okada. So if you're telling me that Edge can go wrestle the guy that got him back into wrestling and essentially kind of started that journey back into becoming a wrestler again in Omega, I think that would be a really cool story and a way to kind of go full circle on that. I would like to see it. Again, I'm not a huge fan of either one of them, but it would be cool to see. And that's why I think he's going to AEW, but not for long. And then he comes back to WWE. He's already in the Hall of Fame, so I don't even know what he would do in WWE at that point. But,
I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he's so loyal. I just don't think he goes anywhere. That's just my opinion.
This is one of those scenarios where it literally could go either way. I
agree.
So,
and you know what? This is also one of those scenarios where I think Triple H would even be willing to say, hey, look, you're at the end of your career. You've done everything. You want to go away for a year. You got a home here to come back to. If you just got to go off and you got to do that last, deal with the Dudleys and, with Christian, because the Hardys and Christian are all,
I tell you what, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
I don't either, but this is what everybody keeps saying. And this is what everybody wants. It's everybody that talks about him going to AEW. That's what everybody says. Well, Christian and the Hardys are both there. And I don't need to see it again. I just don't need to.
But the way that it ended on SmackDown, like Jimmy said, there's just something missing. This isn't a big away party. This is like y'all gonna talk about Edge, about how he's so important, but yet you give this lackluster night. Great, he got to fight Sheamus, the dude that motivated Sheamus and got him back into wrestling. But like Jimmy said, what was the other guy that got him back into wrestling? So if they're gonna end it this way and not give a big fireworks and shebang, I think it's because Triple H knows he's coming back later. He's going to go do some business elsewhere. I'm okay with it as long as it's something like what Jimmy said. He fights Omega. I
don't want him going over there
big.
Yeah, I don't want him going over there doing what he did in WWE, where he's just kind of going through things. Like, no, there's only a select few people I'd want to see him wrestle in AEW, and just hit the checklist, go off.
He's got a bucket list, and that could be it. It's a bucket list. He's not taking it like I'm being unfaithful to WWE. there's a wrestler that he wants to fight and he wants to do it before his time is up. That bucket is drawing near. And then he can come back and retire WWE in Canada. Who knows?
And just to touch on this one real quick, I know you got some, Albert, but just
Yeah.
the only reason I'm okay with him not putting over AJ is because AJ's kind of in that part of his career where he should be putting over people as well. And Edge, when he came back, he kind of got shafted with COVID. So it was like, let's get him some moments, man. He kind of deserves it. So that's why I'm okay with him not putting over AJ. And same with Finn. He didn't get a chance to get a win in WrestleMania in front of a crowd. He had to beat Finn. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people were, but again, Finn's also in that age where he don't need to be put over. He's Finn. Like he's doing just fine. So again, not that you're wrong. That's just how I kind of see it. And then, yeah, I think it could be fun. No.
Yeah, Lou, you would be surprised how many people on Twitter. That's all I see. Now, look, one person that's pushing for it, I understand. Bully Ray's pushing for it, and that makes sense. That's going to make him money. I get that. But for everybody else that keeps saying Edge needs to go there because he needs to be with Christian and the Hardys are over there. No, he doesn't.
3 of them can still wrestle. The other 3 cannot. So I don't want to see it.
And that's my thing.
Sorry, everybody.
I mean, would it be cool if, like, I'd be okay if he comes out, he does a promo, and you know, they all end up in the ring for a promo together? Cool. I don't need to see a match with them anymore. If Edge has a finite number of matches left in him at a top level, let's let him go to AEW and face some guys that we've never seen him face. I would love to see Edge versus Kenny Omega. I would love to see Edge versus Ricky Starks. That would be a fun program. If we're going to have Edge rehash anything, let him go over there and work with Punk again. But give me some fresh Edge matches if he does go to AEW.
Yeah.
I really don't want to see him go to AEW. I don't think he has anything to prove. I think that he's proven whatever he needed to prove, you know, against guys of that caliber, against, you know, Seth Rollins. But I mean,
yeah. And the biggest reason why they shouldn't do another Dudley's Edge and Christian Hardy thing is they literally have no access to any of the video, so you can't. I feel like a video, and people are like, oh, you don't need. For something like this, a video package would make it seem like a much bigger deal as opposed to like, hey, we're just reliving our glory days. It's like, no, let's do the trilogy. And this is why we're doing the trilogy. But they can't do that, so don't do it. That's my take on it. But yeah, I won't go there. But I will say they have something in common. They're tunnel buddies. But anyways, we can move on.
Eskimo Brothers?
Yeah. We can move on from there, and we will now go into an interesting theory I have. Rhea Ripley. Everyone's been like, they're not using Rhea Ripley correctly. And it was like, I was on board with that for a long time, but much like I always do, I try to kind of get the wheels spinning and understand why this is happening. And then it hit me. Does her booking remind you of literally anybody else?
I kind of know what the answer is, but yeah.
Brock Lesnar. Because she just destroys people. She defends that title on her time. And if she don't like what's happening, she just goes out and beats the piss out of whoever she's supposed to wrestle and says, ha, 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 that's what I'm doing. She is a female version of Brock Lesnar right now. And I will not hear any argument against that. Because that's literally what we're watching. And I think that's the coolest shit I've ever seen with the women's division. Hands down. I don't know if I'm crazy. I don't know. You saw what I was saying. You were on board with me. Tidy, I would like your opinion on this, though. I would like to know if I'm just being crazy. Do you see Brock Lesnar and Rhea Ripley's booking?
Yeah, it's very similar. It really is, because like there was like, who was it? I mean, right now she's with Dom, so she's challenging Lyra. They kind of make the call out in NXT, Lyra and Dragon Lee.
Yeah.
They literally, it's like, you could have took the props that I given you and my acknowledgement of you, but no, you want to attack mommy. So like like talking about booking wise, well, who else could she fight for a while and stay interesting? Well, she's with Dom and Judgment Day. She'll stay more than interesting. But she's got people to pick on at NXT. As long as Dom is North American champion, Rhea's going to be there because everywhere Dom is, Rhea's right there. So there's people to pick on in NXT, honestly, for now. But I think later on, I mean, I know Becky's had a stare down with her. There's still Trish. There's still Zoe. The biggest one that's giving her shit in Raw is the one person that I want to see Big Mommy cool, and that's Raquel Rodriguez. In time, that needs to be the feud that happens that really, now let's get serious. Let's give Rhea let's put some meat on that bone. It's going to be Raquel.
And
not
they have
Raquel
to come back too.
But that's going to be the big feud.
Go ahead, Albert.
I was just say they have Liv on the comeback too.
Yeah, I had her underlined,
there.
but you know what? She'll be all right. Liv is living.
But the main thing I look at is when Brock was a heel, he would literally just go out, beat the shit out of someone, laugh it off, walk away. What do we see Rhea doing with these girls every single week?
Yeah.
Whooping their ass, laughing it off, walk away. Even when they get the jump on Rhea, she still walks away every single time.
Raquel twice has gotten jumped on.
So, man, that's cool to me. Like, that's really cool because we've never seen anything like that before. And I don't want to hear people say, no, shut up about that because it's not the same at all. China was a bodyguard who just beat up a bunch of little girls who walk around in lingerie. Raquel's beating the shit out of some like legit wrestlers now. So it's like, yeah, she's beating up some men. Rhea Ripley's bro, he said, imagine, bro, they be tag team champions of the universe, bro.
Yeah.
They ain't nobody stopping that. That baby gonna come out world champion. That's a dangerous combination right there. That'd be crazy. Yeah, thank you. Like no, that's not what I was going right here. I see it.
Yeah.
And there's a few women that step up to the plate. There's a few women that step up to the plate that are going to challenge her, but much like with Brock, he had Drew. That's going to be a challenge. Roman, so I think Charlotte would be his Roman or her Roman.
Yeah, that's still SmackDown, so that's a while away.
Yeah.
Not to say that they weren't going to take over all of WWE. They keep saying that, not just SmackDown, not just NXT, not just Raw. They say all of it. So don't think that she won't show up and challenge Charlotte or bump into Charlotte while she's showing up to SmackDown when her and Ray and Dom are beefing on SmackDown. It's always a possibility. But on Raw, it's really Raquel. That's the only person I can see that's really fit enough to take her.
And this Nick, I hope you're still in here. I just looked this up. In 2020, WWE gave up on the copyright of Edge. So he owns the name. He can take it to AEW and still be Edge. So there you go. He doesn't have to be anything else. I know a lot of people have been questioning that.
Oh, and there's the stare down with Bianca. They had that stare down in that little chat with her and Bianca. So that's
Tidy, you just stole my thunder.
Bianca's going to be turning heel pretty soon because that's the only way for her to go. I think WWE wants her to be a face because that girl sells.
Yeah, she's not going heel.
She's not going heel at all. Yeah,
she is John Cena. And that's another cool thing. We have a female version of John Cena. I don't like doing the comparisons that much, but for the sake of what we're trying to paint the picture, we're trying to paint a picture here. Bianca Belair is a female version of John Cena right now. We've never had that before. I don't know what Becky Lynch was the one, I guess, that kind of started the whole women's being presented this way. Obviously, the women's evolution was a big deal, but I'm just saying, as far as an individual being presented as like a top person in the company, I think Becky was the first one to do that with her man gimmick. And I mean, people were like, "Oh, it's Rick's gimmick." Not really, but whatever. Bianca Belair.
More awesome than Ric Flair. I don't know what that anybody was talking. She was more awesome than Ric Flair. I don't know what anybody was talking about.
That's fair. And she did the thing with Austin. So yeah, there you
right.
go. Then we have the John Cena with Bianca Belair. We have Rhea Ripley. This is cool as shit to me. I don't care what anyone says. I say whatever you want, but you're more than welcome, Nick. That's what I'm here for, buddy. But yeah, I just wanted to get opinions on that because it was like, yeah, I'm seeing that, and that makes me appreciate the reign. Whereas before I was like,
dude, if she could do some Brock Lesnar shit and suplex somebody 25 times, I'm all for it. If they really lean into that, I mean, they might as well. Maybe they just don't want to lean into it immediately and make it too obvious. But
Well,
we all
her
knew
first-
you knew it. And I asked you, what did I ask you? Who the hell is going to beat Rhea Ripley? And you were like, nobody until next year, even after that. And I was like, damn it, Jimmy, don't be right about this. But if you think about it, Becky's already looked at her. You got Raquel doing some shit, and she's over there challenging Lyra because she's having fun with Dom, like the power couple in NXT. You're
She
right.
just needs a
It's
toy to play
nothing
with
to
while
her.
she's over there.
It's almost like it's nothing to her. It's not a big deal. And that's something that Brock carries himself like. Yeah, she should be like, oh yeah, and that girl Raquel and Raw's pissing me off. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't even care.
Bingo. So I'm glad there are people on board with that thought, and I wasn't just being again one of those.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Very fitting.
I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, the other thing about this is that if you look at the way, when we talk about, Rhea, I'm getting sick and tired of wrestling fans. Thank you. So I agree, Nick. Rhea's booking's been amazing. I'm sick and tired of wrestling fans thinking that if somebody has a championship that they have to defend it every week.
Not a heel. A heel shouldn't.
Thank you. Thank you. Because, and that's the other thing. A lot of people are getting, are really upset. They're like, Roman isn't going to defend the championship from now until Survivor Series. MJF's had the AEW championship for 9 months. He's defended it 3 times.
They're both heels. They're
heels. They shouldn't defend it. Rhea shouldn't be defending her title all the time.
Hogan was the same way.
Exactly. Rhea shouldn't be defending all the time. And everybody's like, they don't have a story for her. Yes, they do. Just because her story isn't with one specific person, her story has been told the entire time she's been champion. No one's going to get one over on her. That's been her story. We started with Zelina Vega, and she laughed it off. Now they had a very competitive match, and that was great. After that, every person who stepped to her, all Rhea's done is take them out. Oh, okay. Natty wants to step to me. I'm gonna take her out. Liv Morgan wants to step to me. I'm gonna take her out. Yeah, and I'm going to break Liv Morgan's arm. I'm going to break Raquel's leg. I don't care. You're not going to get to me. Indy Hartwell wants to come after me. I'm going to break her in half too. Doesn't make a difference.
This is the way. Bam.
Exactly. And that's what I love about Rhea. Her story isn't that she needs a feud with one person. She's going to get that when she gets the big story with Raquel and then Becky eventually. But her story right now is, I'm going to tear through everybody. I don't need there to be anybody on the other side of me to bring out the best in me. The best in me is me being a beast. And there's the comparison to Brock Lesnar right there.
Question, real quick. Do y'all have someone in your head that you think is going to take the belt from Rhea?
Yeah, there's 2 people. Becky was the only last one in any promo backstage. I actually looked her in the face. No, that's a good point. I got a point. She's the only one who looked her in the face where where Rhea wasn't like, fuck, you're the man, I can't say anything kind of thing. It was the only person where she didn't really snap on her or yell at her, but she did it to Liv and Raquel. Raquel's the other one. But I don't think it's this year. And if it is, it's just going to be something towards the very tail end of the year. But it's going to be Raquel or Becky. Now, if she goes to Charlotte with Survivor Series or to Bianca or whoever, there's a possibility. I mean, but I don't think that's going to happen either, because Rhea's just going to go crush mode and then set the person up that she fights in Survivor Series to want a rematch at WrestleMania. That would be it. But I think Becky said it pretty smoothly to her face. If you want to be big time and get on my level, and that's going to be Becky's promo, like, I don't need a championship. Yeah, you're a beast, but you know what? You ain't beating me. And then Becky gets her over, dude. I mean, like, they need to have a match. I think Becky can beat her.
What about you, Albert?
Bianca Belair. I think that at this point, but I think at this point, the right thing to do is keep the belt on Rhea until the rightful conclusion. I guess the Stone Cold to her, The Rock, because those are the 2 that are at the top right now. That's what they're banking on, the future of the women's division. It's Rhea and Bianca. And I think that if it's going to be someone to take that championship off of her, it's going to be, they're going to do like one of those things where Bianca's going to be Rhea's like only kryptonite for a little while. She's going to beat everybody else, but that's going to be her kryptonite. And I think that's where they're going to go with it. I think it's going to be, I think she has, just this monster run over a year with that championship. And I think then Bianca takes it off of her.
Interesting. I don't agree with either one of them.
I like that.
So I'll say
I love that.
I'll say
I love that.
I do think that Becky Lynch and Rhea will face off at WrestleMania. 100%.
I agree.
100% that's the match to make. I think Bianca will be taking on Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I think those are your two matches. But
who wins the Rumble then?
What's that?
Who wins the Rumble then?
Becky.
Bailey.
Becky.
I need the WrestleMania moment.
I hate that we're this close into, like, we've only had a couple of Royal Rumbles and we're already getting to a repeat winner. That kind of bothers me.
I'm fine with it being Becky because, again, I think Becky's the best female wrestler
Same.
in the history of the business. So if she's getting treated like, if she's getting the Austin treatment, I don't care. But I'm a fan, so that's me. But I don't think it's Bianca because everyone talks about Rhea and Bianca being like Rock, Austin, and kind of.
They have time to get back to that.
I don't think they do. How old is Bianca Belair?
I don't care. 33 or something, 32.
She's 34. She's right up there with Becky and all them. So I'm gonna throw a curveball here, and it's wild. I don't think it happens until the next WrestleMania. I think Rhea's gonna be champion for a long time. I think Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks returns and is the one that dethrones Rhea Ripley.
I'll be okay with that. That'll be
WrestleMania 41.
That alone is a Bailey story. That alone that would work.
Sasha, Mercedes, whatever we're gonna call her. She's younger than Bianca is.
She is.
Yeah. And you know who's never won a match at WrestleMania? Sasha, Mercedes, whatever we're gonna call her. So what would be an enticing way to bring her back? Oh, you get to dethrone Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, get your WrestleMania win, have a big moment. And like that would be a big. That's where I'm going. That's what I think happens.
I miss Sasha.
There is a way where Liv I think could get it, but I know a lot of people aren't high on Liv, and that's just kind of my own fantasy bookie in my head. So I won't say Liv. But my bet right now. Who's that?
The story makes sense.
It did make sense, but it's my own fantasy bookie, and I don't want to do that.
It's a better.
That's me doing this.
Better story. There's a better
story. There's a good story. She's the one who put her on the shelf. There is a good story for it.
And then Dom, she goes to Dom, and then Dom screws
of course, yeah.
There you go. That's my way of doing it. But again, I think it ends up being Sasha. That's what I think.
That would be interesting.
41. How crazy would it be if Sasha returns at the Royal Rumble in 2025 to win it as a surprise entrant? That's cool. That's a WWE move.
No, that's cool.
So that's mine. But All In is this weekend. We'll touch on it real quick if we want to. We're nearing the end here. Excitement level. Anybody excited for All In?
I'm actually so excited that I just realized just now that I got really disappointed that we can't do a show next week. I don't think because
it's on Sunday. No, it's Saturday because it's on Saturday day.
Is it Saturday?
Yeah, because it's Saturday, and even if it's on Sunday, it's during the day.
Right.
Okay, it's going to be on in the middle of the day, so we still got the show next week.
Oh, good. All right, then. I'm going to Jersey, so I was just hoping I was going to be back in time. That was my whole thing, but
we can work something.
If it's on but if it's on a Saturday, that's even better. So I'm even more excited now.
I do think it's on a Saturday. Let me look real quick.
No, he said it's on Sunday.
Who did?
Nick just said it.
Yeah, but he's in the UK, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, he's like many hours ahead.
It's already tomorrow for him. It's on the 26th, correct?
Yeah, the 26th is a Sunday.
26th.
Oh, no, 26th is Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let me double check this real quick. What's the match you're looking forward to the most while I check this out?
Obviously, Adam Cole versus MJF. I mean, there's nothing in the world that's got me more excited in AEW than Adam Cole versus MJF.
27th.
It is Sunday, huh? Yeah. So that's the only thing that disappointed me. Hopefully I'll be back in time to do the show. But yeah,
I think I have to work Saturday night, so I don't have to miss any of it now.
Oh, perfect.
Shut up. I can't talk about it because I didn't watch it. I was out watching Blue Beetle, and I'm gonna tell everybody right now: go watch Blue Beetle. I did see him in the outfit. I thought it was funny. It's a Conquistadors outfit. Who just
looks like it?
Edge and Christian. He's coming to AEW. Oh my god, conspiracy theory starting. Anyway, I don't know what match I'm most excited about, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm mad they did that Stadium Stampede shit, though. I'll tell you that much.
Same.
Orange Cassidy and John Moxley. That's going to just happen at All Out, though, so whatever. But I'm excited for the show. I think it's going to be a fun show. I'm curious what they do with MJF and Adam Cole.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and that's the thing. Look, I'll just come out and say it. It's a cool card that has one match with a story on it, and everything else is kind of just there. You know, I mean, FTR and the Bucks have a built-in story with each other, but it's not being played out on TV right now.
Yeah. I see people like there's plenty of stuff. Yeah, but the people who don't know are clueless, and that's the problem.
Right. You know, for people who know, it's great, but that's AEW in a nutshell. For people who know, AEW is great. For people who don't know, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like people who are trying to be casual and trying to dip in and out of it, it's very hard.
Yeah, here you go. There you go. You reminded me of this one. This is the match I'm most excited for. I think it's going to be fantastic and so much fun. Darby Allin and Sting versus Swerve and AR Fox in a casket match. That's going to be awesome.
Darby Allin and Sting showed up at an indie show.
That's awesome.
Imagine being at that indie show. I would have shat my pants.
It's Sting. They were booing him. That's crazy to me.
Ty, did you see that? Did you see the clip of that?
So they jumped Homeboy, and then Sting held him down with the bat across the throat while Darby Allin hit his finisher on him. It was funny as shit. It's like there's like 20 people in the crowd.
Yeah, it was like
awesome.
Like Sting should not be doing this, but you know that Sting's just like, this looks fun. All right.
Fun.
Yeah. Like, he did an indie show in front of like 45 people. It was unbelievable. Just seeing that clip, I was like, if I was there, I would never not talk about that. That like,
you would have heard me in that video just screaming like a girl. Like,
oh yeah. That would have been like that would have been my outro to this show every week. By the way, I was there at that Sting indie show.
Yeah.
I'm Albert Albany. See you later.
That'd be the highlight of my life. That'd be so cool. But that's that. So part of the show where we say our goodbyes. Albert, let them know what they need to do to see what it is you be doing on that other show you got going on.
Oh, well, that's the Slam Sessions Network right here on the YouTube. A new video was just posted about half an hour before we went live. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I know Harry has actually seen it, and thank you for commenting, buddy. I appreciate it. So like, subscribe, let me know what you think.
Absolutely, y'all need to be going and checking that out, especially if you're a toy head like myself and Albert here. Tidy, what about you? You have anything you'd like to say to the peoples before we say our goodbyes?
Not really, but you reminded me of Nick. I need to watch that every Sunday. Check out Wrestle Legion. Check out Nick, Cy, Andy. Some of the best minds that I've heard talk. They're literally perfect to listen to them exchange words. They're beyond, and I miss them. So I've been so busy. I haven't usually watched them on the Sundays or Saturdays, but usually Sundays. So yeah, check out Wrestle Legion. Those are some good people.
Absolutely. And again, I will go ahead and plug them once again, Wrestle Legion, because my good buddy Nick has a new show coming out in which we are going to be doing Fantasy Booking Wars. And what better way to start that off than by concluding the whatever we're going to call it between myself and the shipless captain. If you missed it, I was on Raw Ball last week. We figured out some things. We got some things in play. We're going to be doing our rematch, the one I will win once again, on Wrestle Legion's channel for their new show. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Make sure you're following Wrestle Legion on Twitter, as well as Wrestling With Your Thoughts Nick, Wrestling With Your Thoughts Cy, and Andy. Sorry, I don't know his app because he doesn't.
Andy taught something.
There you go. Andy Taught Wrestling. That sounds right. Check those out. And you're not going to want to miss this battle because I've embarrassed the kid once. I've embarrassed the kid twice. I went over to Raw Ball and embarrassed him again. And I'm going to go over to Wrestle Legion and embarrass him again. That's kind of my thing now. I'm just here to embarrass the shipless captain. So make sure you're tuning in for that. It's going to be a good time. And if you haven't seen I'll get into it more on more shows as we get closer to it, but you definitely want to touch on that. I don't even know what that means, Ryder. So I don't think you're a real person. Not even putting you up. Can't wait for that. Oh yeah. It's going to be great. There's no voting this time. That was the hang up last time because voting was weird and blah, 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 blah. No more crying about it after this one. Once I win and solidify myself as the greatest famous booker of all time, when I beat the shipless captain, it'll be a done dotted deal, and then I can start accepting new challengers, more worthy challengers, other than a shipless captain. So that's a big reason you want to make sure you're over at Risk Legion for sure. You're not gonna want to miss that. Also, we'll be back next week here. No, we won't, because of All In. You're so stupid, All In. I don't even know what's wrong with you. We might not. I don't know. We'll find out. But in the meantime, go over Slam Sessions. Check out all that extra material he has. The back catalog that I know y'all haven't checked out. There's plenty for you to check out. And with that, that's the show. I just want to remind everybody, once again, as always, don't forget to just enjoy wrestling. It is why we're here. We love it. So just enjoy it, everybody. And with that, goodbye. See you later.